it is I, your humble host, Bill Hatch the Third, coming to you live from the palatial studios of Bald Spots Productions here in the beautiful city of Irvine, California. Joining me from a more than acceptable safe social distance are my guests this evening, author Nicole Fanning and musician DC Glenn. How you doing?
Hello, everybody.
Good. How are you?
I'm just great. I am so glad to have you both on the show tonight. Um,
Hmm.
Nicole is an author who writes, as I've been saying, in the style of The Godfather. So, being a longtime fan of that book, it was one of my grandmother's favorite books, by the way, and definitely she had her well-worn copy of it, and
As do I.
I'm sure she would have appreciated your writings as well. And then
I hope so.
DC is the brain supreme of tag team, and I don't know how many people wouldn't remember Whoomp. There it is,
Mm.
and just the great music that came out of that duo. Um,
Before we
okay.
get started, I got one thing I got to get
Uh
off my
oh.
chest. Sprinkles! I'm ready now. Let's go.
That was a great ad campaign.
Uh-huh. Hey, you know what? And today is actually a great day
It's always a great day.
because today is a great day because in Cannes, France, we won the Bronze Lion Award for Entertainment Commercial of the Year. The Bronze Lion is the biggest award worldwide for commercials and advertising.
Well, congratulations.
And got to call the CEO of the Martin Agency that we won that award today. So, Bronze Lion, that's cool. And we got a lot of other things coming up, but today was a good day for that. And I just get happy for a minute and get back to the work that I'm trying to do.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And what is that work? What are you doing these
Huh?
days?
Well, today I was coding all day because I am masterful at search engine optimization, digital marketing.
Okay.
Because I'm not going to wait for anyone to do anything for me. I will learn it myself and therefore be self sufficient. So anything that I want to promote, anything that I want to do, I can do it myself. And it's funny because everybody's telling me, you got to do social media, you got to do social media. I'm like, no, I don't. Because social media is easy for people, but I, it's not going, here's my philosophy for attention. A lot of people doing it for likes. And I try to tell people, mostly young people, you don't need 100,000 people to like you. You just need 100 people to pay you.
There you go.
And that's my philosophy. And search engine optimization, for those who don't know, is the ability to get in front of people who need you. So if you're a plumber and you fix toilets, and if you're on the other side and you took a big dump and now you flush the toilet and stuff is everywhere, you don't care about social media. You care about when you type into Google, I need a plumber now, and I'm the person of you, and I'm going to come and fix your toilet, and then you're going to use me forever. And that's what search engine optimization is. And that's why I love it so much because my philosophy is that I want it to be hard because I know everybody else is not going to do it, right? It's nothing but work. And I've been
Yep.
hustling all my life, right? And I just, I just go hard, man. And working on 4 or 5 different websites, and Google just had a algorithm change
Mm.
and knocked off everybody. They kind of have to purge the entire world and the entire internet, so people that are gaming the system can go back to zero and build their way back
Right.
up. So that's what we're in the process of doing. And every now and then they tell you they're going to do it, but you just have to know those things. So if you depend on that, it's a little bit stressful, but it's okay. Nothing but work. So that's what I'm.
That is a long
Like I said,
stretch.
it's going to be different. It's going to be a whole lot different.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Different is different would be my middle name if it wasn't already Arthur. But
yeah, man. I'm interested about your book though, because that's kind of right up my alley. Because I see a lot of authors on Amazon, and they just think they put a book out and it's just gonna happen magically. And I just wanted to know your thoughts on that. What's been your experience?
So I can speak from experience that you put a book out and it doesn't happen magically. There's a lot of effort that goes into it, and search engine optimization. I'm so glad you touched on that because it's really important. I worked for a marketing company for 7 years, and that was like a big piece of what we did. So I'm completely familiar with that. But it's been a process. I think when I started, I wrote a book to 300 people that I could tell that I wrote a book. And it was a really good book. And I'm the type of person that I would be honest if it wasn't. But I was so excited to tell people about it. But again, I only knew 300 people. Thankfully, I was super fortunate that the book took off on TikTok the way it did. Hilarious because I'm far too old to be on TikTok. It did really well there, and I ended up finding my publicist, and he kind of got me into those other markets as well. But as far as like story building and that kind of stuff, that is all personal to you, and that's kind of what you touched on, where it's about how hard you want to work. Because I knew where I wanted to go with the story. I had mapped out, it's going to be a quadrology, it's going to be 4 books. I knew exactly where it was going to go, but it's a lot of work to write a book. It's blood, sweat, and tears. I have lost sleep. I have cried. I have, my hair has gone gray. So it's been an adventure. But I wrote it with the mindset that I wanted it to be a combination of The Godfather and like an old school romance. So I wanted it to have like, the spice and the heat that the new age romances have. But one thing that I found, especially with like mafia romance in general, is that there's a disregard for consent with a lot of mafia stuff. And I just wanted to tell this story of this old school mafia don with this, generational history in his family, kind of falling for this girl, and she's not impressed by his life, so he has to woo her the old fashioned way. And what that would look like versus him just being like, yeah, I'm going to kidnap you and eventually you'll fall in love with me, kind of Stockholm syndrome situation, which seems to be repetitive. So yeah, it's a very unique story. It's kind of a mesh between, I would say, like The Godfather meets, old school romance, and it's kind of a mix of both. And it was meant to appeal to everyone, whether you like a suspense thriller, or you like the romance aspect. There's something in it for everyone. So
Have you decided whether you're going to write screenplays for each volume?
So I have been asked, but I'm so focused on finishing the quadrology.
Okay, I thought you already finished. I was thinking like,
Oh no,
movies right
it's
there.
finished. It's finished in here. finished in real life is much different. But we have the 3rd book coming out this fall. And then the 4th book will follow pretty quick after that, because yeah, it's been a kind of, it's always been there. So, but ultimately it will, I hope, be something that would be turned into a screenplay. But for now, we're focused on just getting the whole book series out there.
Gotta crawl before you walk.
Gotta crawl before you walk. Even though I'm with you, man. Like, I will work harder than everyone else, so I'll do it.
I wanted to ask you, so what's the process? You write a little while, and you have an editor, or do you just write it all at once and then have somebody edit it, or do you have a team, or how does it work?
I have a team, but I didn't always have a team. When I did the first book, I was everything. And I realized very quickly that I can't be everything. I'm many things, but I can't be everything. I can't be an editor and a proofreader and a publicist and a formatter. I don't have all of those skills. Nor do I want them. So thankfully I do have a team, but that was something that kind of came about with book 2. So book 1 I put out there, learned a lot of lessons, and then with book 2 it had, generated enough traction that these people started kind of just falling into my life, thankfully, and as a blessing.
What happens though?
Yeah, it does. And so I was able to go back because like book 2 ended up being a much better book all the way around because it was formatted and it was edited properly and it was just fantastic. So we ended up relaunching the whole series with that full process in there. So I have, no doubt that like the final 2 books will be even better. So yeah, it is a whole process, but the story itself, I mapped out the whole story from day 1. I knew exactly where I wanted it to go. I knew what all 4 books would entail. I knew where each one would start and end. And I had something called my plot skeleton for each book. So I knew exactly where I wanted the quadrilogy to start and end, but then I knew individually what all, like, let's say example, Catalyst is 45 chapters. I knew the main event that was happening in each of those 45 chapters before I allowed myself to write a single word of the actual book. And then on top of that, I also wrote 122 pages of character backstory, because these books are different in the sense that it is first person point of view and it alternates between the mafia don and our heroine. So that way it again, like, it appeals to everyone. If you relate to Jackson more, then you'll like his chapters. If you relate to Natalie more, then you'll like her chapters, but it alternates back and forth. And I knew that it would be risky to do, but I knew that if I had a very unique voice for Jackson and a very unique voice for Natalie, it would feel and read, like you were there and you were watching it through their perspective and move the story along without it being too wordy. So but that was all the back time effort that went into it. So it was a labor of love. And
That's
what's
the
that?
that's the most important part. Like when you say backstory, you wrote 122 pages of backstory. That just kind of made me cringe because I'm an actor, right?
Yep.
And everything is the backstory, right?
Yep.
And I've only been acting for about since 2017, and it has been one of the most difficult things that I've had to, undertake. But I worked so hard and I got good at it, and all these clues were coming at me. And then I just realized that as long as you know the story, right?
Yep.
As long as you understand the story, you can use your own voice, right?
Absolutely.
You can use your own experiences. You can use your own thought process. But if you just reading words, it's never going to come across right. So I
Right.
understand what you're saying because subliminally they're reading, but they're also looking at a movie. That's kind of
Right.
what you're going
Yes.
for, right? Yeah. And that's the
That
point.
that's key.
That's
And
the
that
whole
was
point. It's
something
like I'm
that,
reading this, but I'm looking at a movie at the same time. Like, wow. And
so
you just and
especially with like Jackson and coming from like this mafia family, that mafia family has been in power for nearly a century in the story.
yes.
So there's a lot of history there. There's a lot of lore there. And I'm a breadcrumber and I'm a plotter.
Mm-hmm.
So I ultimately have plans for this to kind of mimic like the Marvel universe,
Mm-hmm.
where you have like your 4 Avengers movies. So that would be like the 4 main books in the series that I'm writing now. But then I have 10 other books planned that are smaller, kind of spin-offs, that relate to like the side characters that we've met in the story. So these books, the only perspectives we get in these 4 books are Jackson and Natalie's. However, we are introduced to a whole slew of side characters that have backstories, and that influences each of their voices and how they respond to situations in the moment. And so many people kind of fell in love with some of those side characters that, I originally planned for 6 kind of side novels, and now we're up to 10. So we'll see where it goes from here. But
You know what the
there's
beauty
there's
of that
enough
is?
material.
You know what the beauty of that is? Is that when you get to that point, people will be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I get it. Because I kind of like that character. I kind of like this character. Now that, it's like more,
Yep,
right? And
absolutely.
you can see it. I hate when they do something big and then they start doing spinoffs and it just doesn't make sense. They're just doing it
Right.
for the wow factor. But
There's
it's
there's
the
little
story.
stuff that's been dropped throughout the books that is specific to other little books that will be there, that will be kind of that big deal. And there's the little breadcrumbs that are there, like there's a reason for everything. I don't believe in useless fluff in books. I am someone that, if you put a random chapter in the middle of the book that has no real significance and we could have cut it, there's no point. I don't like that. So for me, if it's there, there's a reason for it. And it may be that it's relevant to this story. It may be that it's relevant to a prequel or a sequel or one of the side books. But that's all there, and the history and the lore is built in too, so there's little hints that will be discussed further in other books. But yeah, so I'm a lunatic and I never sleep.
Hey, welcome to my world. I gotta get on a plane, go to Boise, Idaho for a show. It's just been bananas. But
That
I'm having
is
fun.
amazing.
I get to be a kid every weekend, right? And it's just like it's crazy how many things I'm doing, but my whole philosophy is for every opportunity that comes my way, I try to turn it into 10, right?
Absolutely.
And it's crazy because that's the genesis of the Scoop There It Is commercial, right? Like people say, how did that happen? I was like, well, it started in 2011 because this is my narrative, right? This is because I put the work into this. 2011, we were in. I got a call. I was at working at DJ in the club, right? Because I've always been a DJ, so I can always go back to that and go do shows and do this and do that. And it was a reporter from the New York Times, and I was like, please call me in the morning because the record's about to go off and everything. So she called me in the morning. She's like, DC, have you listened to not listened to, but have you read the Gawker article? And I was like, no. She's like, the world thinks that Barack Obama was in your music video. Boom, there it is. And I'm like, what? And they took one frame, and it does look like a young Barack Obama. And everybody was just looking for anything on him back, right? And it just blew up. And we're on ABC, we're on NBC. Jeannie Moses doing an expose on us. I mean, we're doing press for like 2 weeks. And at the end of that 2 weeks, I was very upset because I had no money in my pocket. And when things like that happen in my life, I vow that they will never happen again. And that's what started my search engine optimization career because I was working at the club. So let me practice in the club with the clubs. And I learned how to build websites. I learned SEO. It was brutal because people don't understand that it always changes. People don't understand how hard it is to understand what Google is doing, but Google doesn't understand what Google is doing, right? Their
Right.
experimentation as this is as you go. This is technology. And fast forward, you know, 8 years, and back then, if you typed in tag team, it was all wrestling. You type in tag team today, it's all tag team, right? I
Nice.
had to disambiguate myself from tag team, wrestling, tag team, the real estate duo, tag team, this tag team, Pokemon, tag team, XXX, all that, right? And I did it. And it was during the pandemic. And I'm telling you, I got a call from my agent, and Lena was like, DC, you just booked a Geico commercial. And I was like, man, don't be playing with me in no pandemic like this. I haven't even auditioned for a Geico commercial. She was like, no, DC, they want a tag team. I was like, oh, went and checked my phone. Boom, there was the call. And they didn't wait. They went to my IMDb, and because I fill out all my portals right, they called my agent for acting.
Wow.
And I let my agent make the deal. And it is the most lucrative deal I've ever made in my life. And you talk about synergy. But we're in the middle of a pandemic. So I'm like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I said, well, let me get a publicist to blow up acting because I do voiceover too this week at NBC. I'm very good and I'm very masterful at what I do. And I was trying to get a publicist. Everybody's like, well, we're in a pandemic. We kind of don't know what to do with a commercial and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, they gave me every reason why they couldn't instead of one reason why they should. And I said, you know what? I'm be my own damn publicist. And this is one of the things that is the crux of my whole existence is that whenever somebody tells me I can't do something, whenever I get stuck or whenever I get confused, whatever, I join organizations. And I joined it's called the Public Relations Society of America, PRSA. And I said, I'm gonna be my own publicist. And 2 days in, I'm on this Zoom meeting they let people ask questions to this big CEO of this PR firm. And, I raised my hand. I was like, hey, I have a press release that I want to release. And they were, what's it for? I was like, well, I'm kind of featured in a Geico commercial called Scoop. There it is. And I'm looking at the chat. The chat's blowing up. Wait a minute. That can't. What's he doing here? Oh my God. Is that him? My grandmother loves that. Like it just blew up the entire Zoom call. And the CEO was like, of course that press release is going to work because the whole last year, every story's been COVID. The whole last year, everything has been political. And here you guys come throwing sprinkles and, spinning scoops and DC will smile. And she was like, go here for the publicist, go here for all the TV talk shows, go here for all of the, journalists, go here for all the podcasters. She gave me the entire breadth of her experience in 10 minutes. It changed my life forever. And I became my own publicist. 2 days later, it's Super Bowl week. I get a call. I put that press release out. I get a call for the Dan Patrick Show. Now I'm on national TV on Friday talking about Tom Brady with Dan Patrick. 2 weeks later, I'm on Tamron Hall. Like these things I've done before, but not because of my hustle, because of me, right?
Yep.
Because I didn't give up. I don't quit. I play offense. And I was already doing tons of podcasts, but now I do I was doing 3, 4 podcasts a day. And because I know SEO, I send everybody a little letter. Hey, can you please leave me a review on Google? Can you please leave me a text, not a text, but a link. And if you're going to use anchor text, make sure it's just tag team. If you're not going to use anchor text, making sure it's the URL, right?
Yeah, make it nice and clear.
Yeah, and now I have so many backlinks, it's unbelievable, right? Because
I think that's so incredible.
That's what you do. Think about it. You're going to take this podcast and you're going to dump it on different platforms that got so much authority. Some people who have like 20 different platforms they put their podcasts on. So that's 20 different links from iTunes, from this, from there that are coming directly toward me that feed me juice. So everything is one opportunity turning into 10. You see what I'm saying? And now I've become so good at podcasting. This is maybe about 6 months ago that I was like, you need to speak in front of people because you inspire people. And I joined the National Speakers Association, NSA, and befriended some of the biggest mentors in the game who make $2-3 million a year. And they said, you're a natural at this. You're in front of 5,000, 10,000 people every weekend. That's the hard.
Oh, we lost your audio again, DC.
What about now?
Now you're good.
Now we got you.
Okay. I'm about to go and this is the start of my motivational speaking career.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I contribute all of this to joining organizations because organizations are filled with people who love their profession. And they have been doing it for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, and they can't wait to tell you. Right?
It reminds me of that old adage that's like, and everybody gets it wrong because they only do half of it, which they say like, a jack of all trades is a master of none. But that's only half of the phrase. The whole phrase is a jack of all trades is a master of none, but still always better than a master of one.
Yep. And my father used to tell me that all the time.
And that's the whole phrase. And so that part always got cut off.
Yeah.
And I that's immediately what I think of when I think of you is that you don't just say like, oh, I need to do these things and look at it from like a top down perspective. You look for the why, the how. Like, I don't want to just, do SEO. I want to understand SEO. I don't want to speak. I want to understand speaking. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you're doing. You're doing a deep dive on it.
I love mastery, right?
Yes.
I want to become masterful at things. You never become a master, but you can become a master. Like my dad, jack of all trades, master none. People tell me that now, and I'm like, you know what? If people tell you that, this is what you tell them. That might be true, but if you live long enough, learn how to learn. It's not enough just to learn. You got to learn how to learn.
Absolutely.
And just play offense and be relentless. You become masterful at all those trades and they become one. Because what you were doing back then, you don't, this is what I tell people. I was like, you don't plant a seed, sit down India side, say, okay, seed grow. Okay, seed, why aren't you growing? I need you to grow, seed. Man, this seed don't work. I quit. How many people we know took a real estate course about to be rich, and then you don't even hear from them no more because they're like,
it's the same thing with authors. It's the same thing. A lot of them have big plans to write series and books and stuff, and after the first one, and they're not a best-selling author on book one, they're like, I quit. I'm done.
Oh, you plant that seed and keep it moving because you never know how that seed's gonna grow. You don't know if it's a bush, a tomato, a tree, a shrub. 28 years ago, I planted a seed called Whoop. There it is. And now it's a sequoia. It's not going anywhere.
Nope.
Right. And that's what I do. And
that's incredible.
I won't take on things that don't fit into my ball. Right. I have a ball. So digital marketing, everything has to kill 3 or 4 birds with one stone. Yep. Digital marketing, podcasting, PR, all these things, voiceover, because I can do my own voiceover. I'm masterful at Photoshop. I'm masterful at video editing. I'm a fashion photographer. I learned how to do all these things while working at these clubs because I read a book back in the day when I was into the self-help thing called Being in the Corridor. Guy went and, he wanted to have a pie shop. Went and worked at a pie shop, did all the jobs in the pie shop, quit, got his own pie shop. Then he franchised it for $20 million, right? Because he got in the corridor and learned how everything works. That's what I did. I said, let me put together a business plan. Let me start running my life like a corporation. Let me do this. Let me do that. Let me start going to New York for voiceover. Let me start video editing. Let me cut commercials for the clubs. Let me be, you have to hire 10 people to do everything I do because you got to make yourself invaluable. That's why I try to tell the youth. I try to tell these young kids, I'm like, join an organization. Because you'll know in 2 weeks if that's for you or not, because there's going to be people telling you how to do it. You don't even have to try. They're giving you the game. Organizations different. Than like the music industry, everybody's to themselves. Everybody's trying to cut your throat. Everybody's trying to me, right? But in organizations, you got good people who just want to help people. Because everybody's telling you need to write a book. You need to be charging for it. No. You give what you want first. That's why I stay blessed. Things on my lap every single day, and I have to choose whether I want to deal with them or not. Right. And all the things that I've done have helped me. This is very important. It's helped me sequester my ego and kill my.
Sorry.
No, you good. It's helped me because for men, pride is an issue. Right. Like I don't argue with people. I'll relent. Right. Because some people just like to argue just to argue. So I will let you go down that rabbit hole because when you go down that rabbit hole, you want to be right at any cost, and then you'll start lying. Then you'll start making stuff up. And now you're truly lost. And I let go of it a long time ago, and now my mind is truly open to every possibility. Right?
Absolutely.
Because I killed my pride and sequestered my ego. Now it's killing me inside. It's like, right? Inside. But you don't react to things and you put it in your pocket.
And I think it shows that it's a labor of love for you, and I think that makes the difference because even as someone that is in the middle of writing this gigantic series, there's definitely days I feel like quitting. I feel like it, but I won't because I'm too committed to it. I'm too in love with it. I'm too excited for it. And I believe in it, and I will believe in it until my lungs give out. So I think that, it separates the men from the boys, or the, you know, the women from the girls, or whatever. But it does, because it's how much are you willing to hustle, and how hard are you going to work when it's not easy, when it's not, you know, like, it's really easy when you release a book and everybody's telling you how great it is to be inspired to write the next one. It's really easy. It's a little bit tougher when you're midway through it and you're like, oh my gosh, I am so exhausted. Like, how many more chapters do I have? Like, it's tough sometimes. And there's been times where, you know, I suffer from really bad imposter syndrome. It's weird. It's every single night, as soon as like the sun goes down, until like, while the sun is up, I can think that my book is awesome and it's the best story I've ever heard and it's amazing. But as soon as the sun goes down, I start to be like, I'm a terrible writer. This is
I
a
was
waste
like,
of time.
but that's okay, right? Because let me tell you something. I'm just as lazy as the next person, right?
It doesn't
But
sound like it, DC.
no,
It
no,
sounds
hey,
like you
I'm
are.
as lazy as they come, but I do it anyway, right?
Yep.
And you could do two things at once. You could
Yep.
be lazy and still get things done, right?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Because
that's
all
very
those
true.
are emotions, right? And if you just get up and go do what you got, I mean, perfect analogy is like I have a friend called Monsieur Saboteur. He sits right here. And I'll wake up and I'll be like, we going to the gym. He's like, nah, man, I don't want to go to the gym, man. Let's just stay in bed. It's like, nah, man, come on, let's go. Man, Monsieur
Yep.
Saboteur was like, man, okay, let's just go to Wendy's, man. We don't need to go work out. No, we going to the gym. He's like, man, okay, we're just gonna go to the gym. We're just gonna do a little 10 minutes of treadmill, then we're gonna leave and then go to Wendy's. And by the time I get to the gym, he's gone. And everybody goes through this
Yep.
where they go to the gym, and when they finish their workout, the only thing they can say is, damn, I'm glad I went to the gym today.
Yep.
That's that helps, right?
Yep.
So that's why I do things anyway, because at the end of the day of coding and trying to figure all this stuff out and beat my brain and wanting to call somebody but can't and all that, and I get to the end of the day and it's done, that is euphoric.
Yep.
Then because it starts again the next day. And here's the thing, like during the pandemic, like to me, the pandemic is one of the best things that ever happened to me because the other side is the other side, right? I'm talking about what it did to me because it was like a reset. We're all in the Serengeti together, right? We're all in this jungle together. What you gonna do? Be predator or prey, right? And I said, and everybody asked themselves the same question: what the hell am I gonna do? And I said, I can't do shows
Yep.
now. I can't do this. I can't do that. But I can do this. And every voiceover class I ever took, every class I ever take, I recorded. If I'm paying for it, I'm recording it, right? And I just had them. I never went back over them, but I had them. I organized them, and I went back and I started voiceover in 2009. And I went back and listened to the first voiceover class I had, and I almost cried because I had to listen to my 10-year ago self talk in conversation, and it killed me. And then I heard myself do voiceover, and I'm like just talking to my coach, like trying to just deflect because I think I could just whoop, there it is, my way through anything. And I was wrong. But at the same time, they were telling me all these things in back then. I was understanding because now I'm an actor and I never gave up on voiceover. So the things that they were saying to me made sense. And I was like, wait a minute, let me do this first thing that's making my skin crawl over. And I did my first voiceover script over. And it was simply angelic because it was the first time I had mastery over my voice. And I
That's
haven't looked back, and voiceover has saved me over and over and over and over and over so many times. And I tell people all the time, there are no mistakes. This is what the pandemic taught me. There are no mistakes. There are no missed opportunities, right? Like, there are, I'm not going to go try to play NFL football, right? But there are no missed opportunities. As long as you're breathing, there's nothing you can't do. And I remember I'm sitting in the bowels of Disney, 1994, teaching Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse how to rap because they were a husband and duo team. We did a record for Disney called Whoop There It Went on a children's album. And I'm with the iconic voices of Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse, teaching them how to rap. But back then, and they're teaching me about voiceover and animation. And back then, I was like, okay, talk to my agent. I'm DC Tag Team. I'm this, blah, 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 blah. I'm in my element. And I beat myself up for years because I was there. 1995, I'm in the office of New Line Cinema president. He's like, yeah, we might want to audition you for some stuff. I was like, talk to my agent. It's cool. It's like, yeah, it's this vampire movie that we're doing. The leads are LL Cool J and Wesley Snipes. They're fighting over it. It's called Blade. And I beat myself up for years because I was there. And I tell you these stories because sometimes in life, we're just not ready. And that's okay. But you correct all that stuff. And now I'm an actor with 3 movies, 5 TV shows under my belt, auditioning all the time, doing tons of voiceover. And I get to do a little bit of a whole bunch of things that I love.
You got
And
a
that's
lot of
kind of like
tools for your
I am.
toolbox.
Hey, I tell people, you know, I don't got no toolbox. I got a home deep. No. I got tool shit. No, I got an Ace Hardware, right? And
I like
that's
that.
yeah, I got
This
an
is the
Ace Hardware,
place.
and that's why I love to be wrong. I love to
Yep.
be wrong, and I love to people to give. You know how they say, stay away from negative people. Negative people bring it down. What if the people that are most negative in our lives sometimes are the people that love us the most, and they only know what they know, right?
Yep.
So you have to you can't take that personal. And I embrace it because okay, you're complaining. What's the solution? They're like, what? Also, you just want to complain, but I'm listening, right? I might not agree, but I'm listening because there is some truth in what you're saying. I gotta find it so I can put that in my toolbox. So if I ever come across it, I know how to deal with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The
The
worst
whole
boss
game
I
is to
ever
learn.
had was the boss
Yeah.
that told me that every job you have, whether you're working in a fast food restaurant or
Mm-hmm.
you're working in marketing or you're an actor or you're a writer, all those different jobs you have throughout your life are a different tool that you're accumulating for that toolbox.
Yes.
And you never know when the right combination of I worked in marketing and I was an actor became the perfect thing for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
And I
I think
love
that says a
Yeah.
lot.
it. I
Yeah, you wouldn't
love it.
believe all the different things I've gone to school for, and in my misspent youth, and all the different professions I've done. But now, when I'm doing my day jobs, I'm a leadership coach, and
Mm-hmm.
because of all those experiences, I can now relate to people in a whole lot of different scenarios. And
Yes.
yeah, it's just
And when I go to talk to people, we talk about this, not records, not music. We talk about this because all that don't happen if this doesn't happen, right? Because there are going to be ups and downs.
you know,
But I vowed that any traumatic thing that happened to me, I was going to always vow to never let it happen again. So in the beginning, we were in a 15-year lawsuit or legal battle over that song. But nobody ever knew. I kept trucking along. But I took that opportunity to become a paralegal. So I know I'm gonna have my day in court. So let me learn what emotion is. Let me learn all this jargon that they're saying. Once I learned the language, I put together the discovery and found a good lawyer, and we prevailed. And back then, it was like, well, you kind of got beat out of some money. I said, well, you know what? Learn about finance. And I vowed that it will never happen again. And I became a licensed commodities broker. Took the Series 3 test and everything. About to have a hedge fund and all that. Being a DJ and a rap star.
wow.
Woo!
You see what I'm saying? But it
Yeah.
wasn't for me. Sometimes, like it would have been like I had to give up music. And I couldn't give up music because I love music dearly. Music is the genesis of everything I do, right? Even though I don't do music anymore, but I get to go and be a kid and sing songs on the weekend to
Love.
thousands of people, right? But then get to come back and get in the trenches and learn stuff and fight for it like everybody else has to, right? And I love every second of it. It is I don't want to spend my life doing anything else. I'm telling you, I am going to ride this thing till the wheels fall off. I'm not trying to retire. Now I might think differently because when you get more mature, the things that you love, you begin to hate. It just happens, right? Things don't make sense to you. But I know that my trajectory on public speaking and telling people that they can do things and trying to inspire them and giving them simple, practical solutions to problems that have plagued mankind forever is going to be my legacy, right? Because I know, because it worked for me. You know what I mean? It's like join an organization so you can figure it out. I got a friend I'm helping. She's in a notary organization. I put all my friends in an organization. I say, just pick up the phone and start calling people. I say, after 3 calls, you know exactly what you need to do because they're going to tell you. You got all the resources. For another friend of mine, I want to do a laundromat. All she talked about. I said, you know what? Let me put you in the Coin Laundry Association of America. She could not believe there were so many ways to make money with laundry. She thought it was just a laundromat. I'm like, no, no, no. It's about having a bunch of washing machines so you can go do hospitals, you can go do restaurants, you can go do nursing homes, you can do all kind of stuff and make a bunch of money.
Yep.
But you got to know business first. If you're not a business person, if you don't learn the ins and outs of business and you don't learn about getting your credit right and then figuring out what type of corporation or a company you're going to have and then get your DUNS number and get your EIN number and fix all that stuff and then start getting corporate credit and then start getting your accounts and then start running your life like a corporation, you're lost. Because a lot of people just want to say they got a business, but they don't know what they're doing, and that's how they fail. But
Or
I
they
ran
want to
my
say that
life.
they have a business and then they let someone else run it.
Oh my gosh. And that's why I'm
Yeah.
my own booking agent. You know what they told me? After the lawsuit, I was like, I want to go on tour again. And all the booking agents were like, well, you only got one song. It's been 15 years. I was just trying to market for you, DC. And I was like, all right. And I went and joined IEBA, International Entertainment Buyers Association.
Nope, we lost you again.
Yeah. They buyer. You have your venues. Then you have your big boys like Live Nation and iHeartRadio. Then you have the very people who were telling me that I couldn't do it. Then you have your managers. Then you have me. I effectively cut out the middleman. I joined this organization. I go to their conference. Me and Chubby Checker, the only black dudes in there. 5,000 people. I got a big "Boom There It Is" T-shirt because I billboard, and I just started networking. I said, "My name is DC Glenn. I made the song "Whoop There It Is." We're a clean '90s nostalgia rap group. Just want to know if you were interested." And they're like, "I know what your song is." And it's like, "So you guys are touring down?" I was like, "Yeah." And I'm just here to try to scrounge some stuff up. And we have not looked back since. And we do 30, 40 shows a year. There's
That's
always a
amazing.
way. And I tell people, I said, you got to think solutions. Because what I do, I think of the most high in the sky, fantastical, just out of reach solution. But the thing is that I see it. I see it. And then it's what I do. I say, well, that might not work now, but let me inch my way back. That's still hard. Can't do that. Let me inch my way back a little more. Wait a minute. You kind of halfway doing that now. Let me inch my way back a little more. Oh, wait a minute. This is what you're doing now. But what I've effectively done is I have created a reverse business plan with a step ladder to my goals and dreams because I brought it back to practicality. I saw it, but I brought it back down by steps to practicality. And then you just follow those steps and you ask people in the organization along the way and they tell you.
Now,
Then it's up to your
I've
hustle.
told people before, don't tell me how to not do something.
But that's what everybody does.
Yeah.
Everybody tells you. Sometimes I can't even get into a conversation where other people are talking because of the level of ignorance. I have no chance. Right? I have no chance. I feel nasty when I get in a conversation like that because
Yep.
I don't have a chance because I'm listening to them talk about things they have no clue about, and I know everything they're talking about because I know how to go research. My family, I had an incredible childhood. We had encyclopedias every year. Encyclopedia. You know how, like, I look back on it, encyclopedia. We had the internet every year with pictures, and we could learn about animals. That was such, because my father was an educator, so he got free encyclopedias,
Nice.
right? And we always had them. And I can tell you, I owe it to my parents. Me being all this you getting tonight is because my parents, because they worked me, my brother, like a dog. I've been cutting collard greens and shucking peas since I was 5 years old. My mother had a prep cook. My father made me cut the lawn, grass, shovel snow, get on the roof with him, wash the windows, wash the clothes. My mom taught me how to do everything, and me had.
Oh, there you go again. No sound.
I'm back.
You're back.
That was my first job was when I was 13, and I was the only female caddy at the country club.
Wow.
Because that was the only job that would take girls. Or sorry, that would take you like at 13, because it was, like a cash business and you were a caddy. And everybody's like, girl can't caddy. You can't caddy. What do you know? What do you know about golf? And I was like, I can caddy with the best of them. I can carry a bag around a golf course. Guarantee I'll make bigger tips than you guys too. So,
And isn't it beautiful that because you did that, you do not fear work as a grown woman?
nope, I do not.
I have never not known working. Just like I have never not known how to swim because my dad threw me in the pool when I was a baby.
I'm more I fear not being active more than being active. Like I used to joke and say, like, I have a schedule that I write every day. It doesn't matter if I feel like it or not. Like, I do it every single day, and it's a discipline thing, because to me it's like objects in motion stay in motion. Well, writers that are writing stay writing. Writers that are not writing, they stop writing. So that's just my mentality, is that, like, you can't stop. I can't stop.
Mm-mm. Play offense. There is no
Yes.
defense. It's all offense. If LeBron misses 30 shots, well, he's gonna shoot 30 more.
Yep.
And he's gonna miss 30 more, but he's gonna make one, then two, then three, then he's gonna win a whole bunch of championships.
Yep. Again, it's gonna your hustle is going to separate you from people, like, and there was that old phrase, I think it was like, where hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work very hard, or something like that. It was very similar, and that always stuck with me, because it was like, you can be incredibly talented and have it be incredibly come naturally to you, but you can also be someone who is so in love with, like, that talent or that skill, or you want to be a good singer, or you want to be a good writer, and you will put the work in. You will do the classes, you will join the organizations, you will learn how to market your book, you will learn how to take criticism and how to apply it and make your writing better. And at the end of the day, sometimes that talent rides that talent coattails for much too long, and the hard work will bypass, because they put that in, they put that time in, and they won't quit. So, and they've worked for it, and they know what struggle is. So I think that there's something to be said there for, people like yourself who have just said, like, again, like, I don't want to just, do this. I want to understand it so that I can do it better.
And people don't even understand that I have had an incredible career for 29 years of one damn song.
But it was a great song.
I know, but here's the thing.
It's
Here's the
still in
thing.
my head.
I know, but here's the thing. Like, when we can't, we've always been kind of lowest on the totem pole because we only got one song. And Salt and Pepper got a whole catalog. Not everybody, all these groups got catalogs, or at least 3 or 4 songs. We got one, and I had to fight all of that, but I did it with my talent. I knew that I had this was the breakthrough. I knew that for us to be successful in shows, our show can't stop. It has to be like DJing in the club, because that's what the 90s was all about. Going to the club, dancing all night. And that's what I was. I was the premier DJ in Atlanta. I DJed for 25 years. And I know crowds. I know owners of clubs. I know how to sell alcohol. I know how to fix lights. I know how to fix the sound. I know how to do all these things. but the most important thing is reading the crowd. And now our show doesn't stop, and I can get away with songs that they haven't heard of because they're so happy and they're just partying because the music doesn't stop. It's a club. And then we get to Whoop and it's over. It's like when we get to Whoop, they're so lathered up that is it is that the energy is so unreal that I just that's one thing that I think I've become very masterful at is controlling a crowd and just doing the thing because back in the day I grew up at the beginning of hip hop and there's one question: can you rock a party? Can you move a crowd? Right? And I live my life by that. Anything I do, I have to move the crowd. I have to, no matter what. If I just go in and just network with people, I'm gonna make people happy because I know crowds. And it's just I have so much fun just being tenacious like that. And even if I'm scared and fearful, because sometimes you get fearful. Sometimes I'm the only black dude in a sea of white folks. But you got to put that vibe behind you because we all, your my character will
Yep.
shine through.
Yep.
And I
That's
know.
something that I've always said to myself is like when I'm nervous
Mm-hmm,
or I don't know what to do in a situation, I will put myself as my own character in like it may not say in my novel now, but I'll
mm-hmm,
say like you are your own character.
yeah,
In your story, you are your own character. How would you want that character to respond? Especially if it's a difficult decision or maybe it's, having a conversation that's, uncomfortable or, letting somebody go or you have to face something that's really difficult for you, taking yourself out of that first person and putting yourself in like how would I want myself to respond, what would be ideal for me to look back on the situation in 5 years and say, you know what, I did what I should have done.
I did it
um
right.
exactly. Yep.
You were strong. You got to the point. You weren't hateful.
Yep.
You weren't venomous. If they took it the wrong way, that's their fault, right? And that's how and we all have to go through that. But I can tell you right now, I'm having so much fun because I'm scatterbrained right now because I have so many things to do. Right, like I said, I'm trying to save the world just with helping one person at a time. If I could help one person, I could tell you with acting, all those teachers were telling me the same thing. Like 13 different teachers told me the same thing, and I just couldn't get it. And then beautiful Miss Natalia Livingston, she was like, I was in class with a scene, and she was like, DC, stop, stop, stop. Why are you talking loud? You got a microphone on. I was like, oh my gosh. And I could whisper. And if you look at a lot of TV, if you look at actors, they're all whispering because they got a microphone on. That's what makes it
Yep.
real. That's what
Yep.
blows me away.
I did
That
a
blew me away. That
I
changed everything for me. And
I
then,
did
go ahead.
a
Sorry.
community theater play
Mm-hmm,
for a friend of mine, and really I did it on like a dare. Like she was going to be the director, and she
mm-hmm,
wanted to make sure that people actually showed up to audition. And so I was really coming to like bolster the ranks.
mm-hmm.
But I ended up getting one of the female leads, and then I was like, oh, so I guess this is what we're doing now. But never in my life could I'm a loud person. I'm a very like blunt, upfront, this is who I am, loud person. Never in my life have I been told that I need to speak louder. But it's because I'm so used to watching TV and watching TV shows where there's that, really intense moment and the actor's voice gets really, low so that you can really focus on what they're saying. But like in theater, you can't do that. You have to
Yeah,
project to the back of the room.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
she's in the back of the auditorium, and I'll never forget her being like, "You need to be louder." And I'm like, in my life, I have never had anyone say that to me ever. No one has said, Nicole, you need to be louder. That's never happened ever,
And
except for theater.
acting changed me in a way that I love because my job is to get rejected.
Yeah, that's a good
That's my
point.
job, to get rejected. And casting directors don't have nothing against me. It's not about me. It's about if you're right for the part. So if I got to do 1,000 auditions to get to the part I want, then let's go. Give me 10 a day. And once I changed that way of thinking and just I look forward to rejection because I get to go play, right?
Yeah.
And if I have that attitude, I might not be right for that movie, but because they remember my audition, I'll be right for those 3 movies down the line, right?
Absolutely.
And that's why
Absolutely.
rejection is not, you can't take rejection personal. You have to take
No.
rejection as okay, I did what I needed to do. Let's do better next time. Let's do
Yep.
better next time. Let's do better next time. What
There
is
was
this?
a public speaker, a motivational speaker, because
Mm-hmm,
I was really big into that in like 2010.
mm-hmm,
Um, there was a public speaker named John C. Maxwell who did a book called Failing Forward. And
mm-hmm.
he talked about how you will actually learn from your failures sometimes more than you learn from your successes.
Oh yeah.
And it's so important to be able to fail positively.
Uh,
And I remember the first bad review that I got on the first book I ever wrote. And mind you, this was first book I ever wrote. This was, all on my own without an editor. It was raw. And the first bad review I got was someone saying like this was a great book, but it should have been edited. And I remember I was crying in the shower for 2 hours, like until the water went cold. I was so upset, like I was devastated. And now it's like you get that and you're like, okay, like the difference between like constructive criticism and when someone's just being mean unnecessarily. But either way, you're like, you know what? As much as I want my book or my art in your case to be for everyone, it might not be. And that's okay. And I can still reach and inspire and affect so many people by being able to fail or being able to take that criticism with a smile on my face and like an adult, and to take that and say, you know what? I can learn from this. One way or another, I can learn from this.
and that's why I've learned like listening is the key.
Yep.
I've argued with people a lot. When I was young, like man, you can't tell me nothing with your old ass. But I was listening. I was listening,
Yep.
and
We lost your sound again.
Oh, I thought you were doing it for dramatic effect,
no,
DC.
no, no,
I
no.
thought you were like,
I heard the
can you
little
hear me?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And that that's why I love to be wrong. There's always, even if somebody is hating on you, and 90% of the stuff that they say is wrong, I want to find that 10% of truth because there is
Yep.
some coming from them. To even have the gall to even just get in your face and say something like that. And this is
Yep.
what I tell a lot of people. Like people are all everybody always has their opinions, man, she tried to tell me I was this and blah 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 blah. And my thing is, well, what if she was right? What would you do about it? And it stops people in their tracks. What if that person was right what they're saying about you? What would you do about it? That's another toolbox
Yep.
thing, right?
Absolutely.
And I think different. I'm like, okay, DC, what if they were right what they said about you?
Yep.
What's your plan? And I'm like, okay, be more humble. Take a beat first. Don't react. And just ride it out.
Yep.
Because it go away. But you just don't react to things. I've learned not to react. I learned to
Sorry, go ahead. I was just gonna say, like, I've found that with some so when you're a writer and you have fans that love your work and they're very passionate about your work, like you can take, like that bad comment or that, I didn't like this book review negatively. But your fans can take it even more so. And so I remember that like my fans have started a Discord, and we've started kind of like a fan club. And there was like the first time that I got a bad review or something, I had like mentioned something about it, like, oh, like this person didn't like this book. And the fans were like, do you want me to go get her? Do you want me to go yell at her? Do you want me to go do all this? And I remember just being like, absolutely not. Like, we are not cultivating that level of like vitriol. And, it's okay for someone not to like me or to not like my book. that's okay. And I realized that like their love and their passion was in a place of love and passion. But what it would be saying to other people, because there are authors that allow their fans to go after people who don't like their work. And they get a reputation for doing that. And I realized very early on, like, you know, as touched as I am that you guys want to go to fight for me, I don't need that. I'm okay. I will be okay. And again, like we don't want to be in that category. We don't want to be someone who can't take feedback, who can't take a negative opinion. And it was a very interesting experience because it was right there in that moment where I was like, oh wow, yeah, no, we need to make a statement right now. Like we are not gonna, this is not what we're doing ever.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes that negative opinion is what you need to light the fuse, too.
Exactly. Yep.
Hey, I always, man, I love it. I love when people do that to me. Say, hey, it only makes me go harder.
Yes.
Hate on me.
Yes.
You can hate on me all you want. It's just that's my fuel. That's my fuel for the tank. I'm gonna figure out a way to correct your because it's not about you. It's about what you said. So let me correct that problem that you think I have, so I can be better.
Yep.
You know, you just gotta. It's just your perception. I use it as positive energy, right? If you don't react, I mean, and you just go stand in the corner for a second, or just put it. I always say, put it in your pocket. Then it magically transforms into positive energy because it's gonna come a point where you're gonna be like, oh, they say I can't do it. All right, watch this.
Or you know
All
what?
right.
You might get someone who likes you even more
Mm-hmm.
based on your reaction,
Yeah.
respects you. Like, even that person who said that negative thing to you, like, can watch your reaction and see, be like, wow, he didn't react the way I thought he was going to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wow, I have a little bit of respect for him. Like, it can kind of feed into something. You never know what
Hey,
just taking that step back,
yeah.
how influential that can be.
I'd be like, you know what? You're right. You're right,
Yep.
and I'll do better. That kills a whole thing. It's like, what? No,
Yep.
I won't argue. Oh, oh, you're right. I'll do better.
That was a great point. Yeah, absolutely. I didn't think about it that way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's how I diffuse every confrontation. You don't do this, you don't do that. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll do better. And all I can
Can't
try to do
argue with
is
that.
better. All I can try to do is be better. Now, I could easily be like, well, it ain't on me, it's on you. You the one that don't. Nah, I don't do that. I'm like, okay, I'll do better. Maybe we can both do better, right? But that don't happen
It's
because
because
people love
you have
trolling.
a heart for hustle. Like, and I respect that about you so much. No, I feel that it emanates from you. Like you are like, nope, no matter what adversity, no matter what challenge, no matter what you throw at me, like, nope, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna make that opportunity 10 opportunities. I'm gonna, take this feedback and I'm gonna make it something positive. And those people that's immortality in action. That's
Yeah,
invincibility in action because you can't sink that ship.
I need it. I need it
That's
because
amazing.
they might see problems I don't see.
Yep.
And if I have the attitude, well, let me correct this problem so don't come back. I hate to be blindsided. My whole existence is not to be blindsided because being
I'm that too.
blindsided by anything in life just kills me. Like everybody right now is like, it's about to be a recession. How do you feel about it? Like I don't give a damn. I said, thing about recession. There's always just this is just the nature of human existence. There's always going to be somebody not getting it, and there's always going to be somebody getting it. So if they make a law that pisses everybody out, well, you got to put yourself on the other side of it. Well, what if they don't have the resources? That's like, well, that's why I talk to people because you got everybody has more information to do more than any time in history because you can go on a phone and type in anything you want. You can say, how do I? That's how I do with kids. When I go in with kids, I'm like, all right, what y'all want to ask me? Because I'm not about to sit here and waste my time trying to tell y'all, don't do this, don't do that. What y'all want to know? Because I get paper. What y'all want to know? And they're like, well, what is it like? They ask stupid questions. They ask questions because they're trying to be smart ass kids, right? But when they ask a good question, I say, all y'all got to do, I said, listen to me now. All you gotta do is dictate your phone. Type into Google, how do I, and then write the rest. Whatever you want to learn how to do.
Yeah.
And you keep writing at it, you keep typing those words into every apparatus you can find. How do I, and you become good at separating what's good and
Oh, lost the sound again.
back, right?
Just when you were getting
I
real
know.
good.
I want to hear what you said.
No, okay, but and I tell them the truth. I said some of y'all are gonna do the right thing, and some of y'all might do the wrong thing. But I want y'all to remember that if you have some money, I don't care how you got it. I don't want you to do it the wrong way, but some of you gonna do what you want to do. I said the easiest way to get out of that situation is to join organizations because then you can build businesses that are legitimate, right? Whether you're an athlete, whether you're this, whether you're that, you can take your money, fund a legitimate business because you took the time to be in an organization that taught you how to do it. It's like with the
Absolutely.
laundromat. You can open a chain of laundromats, and now that makes money for you forever. You could get a room full of people that does notary signing, online notary signing, apostle notary signing, which is international signing agents for contracts. Technology has changed, and people don't even know how much stuff there is to make money. You could be a virtual assistant. You can have so many people working so many things, and all your businesses are legitimate. So just remember that. Because I know some of you gonna do this, some of y'all gonna do this, and some of y'all gonna do the right thing. But you won't remember that I said this today because
Yep.
you looking at somebody who been through what you're going through. And that's all I can tell them. I'm not gonna blow smoke up their butt. I'm not gonna say, you can do it if you believe in yourself. And I also tell them, don't let anyone tell you that you can't do nothing.
Yep.
Don't let anyone tell you that you can't do nothing because you this or you that. Color of your skin is this. Your nationality is that. I said that makes it that makes it even better because you have to look at it that way. If I gotta go harder, well, that is gonna help me. I don't want it to be fair. It should just be fair for everybody. No, it shouldn't. They don't tell us that. They ain't supposed to. Who
Yep.
said they're supposed to tell you that? They had to go somewhere and get it. Why
Yep.
can't you? Like I don't buy into any of that. And people people are disadvantaged and this and that. That I was like, everybody got a phone. Are you choosing to be on TikTok and believe everything you see on TikTok, or are you choosing to find out how you can make you some money?
Absolutely.
It's about
You
this.
know, I just recently, it was yesterday, I listened to George Takai did a TED Talk, and he
Mm-hmm.
talked about how he had grown up in a Japanese internment camp in California.
Yeah.
And he gave the speech about how, even after a lot of those Japanese citizens were put in those camps, when they reopened the draft offices, a lot of Japanese American men signed up to go to war. And the most decorated unit of World War II was the 442nd all Japanese American unit. And they were put in the most hellish of situations, and they were put in, like the most difficulty. And, it was just amazing to watch. Like, they worked twice as hard
Mm-hmm.
because they, to them, were fighting not only, for their country, but they were also fighting against the hate, against the stigmatization, against
Yeah.
everything that was on them at the time. And I was just sobbing watching this. And it just goes to show, like, literally, when you talk about, like, it's sweeter after difficulty. I think it's like a Latin phrase, like dulcius ex asperis or something.
Mm-hmm.
Sweeter after difficulty, or sweeter after struggle, maybe, is what it is. um it all feeds in. Like, you can either decide that you're going to get bitter about whatever it is about your situation, or about what you haven't been given, what someone else has been given, how much success someone else has had and you haven't had, or you can make it yourself. or you can not focus on everything else around you and focus on your journey, that next step, that next 100 feet. Where are you going? Appreciating it, loving the people around you. You have a choice every minute of every day. And some days it's going to be easy. Some days it's going to be hard. And some days you're going to not be able to do it. And you have to be able to pick up the next day and do it anyway. So I just think that like that whole idea of the struggle makes it sweeter for us is
Right. And then not only that, all the people who said you couldn't, you get to look them in the eye and don't have to say a word. And this is the one thing I tell people all the time. I said, look, it never gets easier. I said, I don't care how successful, it never gets easier.
nope.
Ever. It never will get easier, right? But it does get better. And that's all you can hope for in life.
Yep.
A little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. And you're
And
gonna be
those
okay.
people who told you couldn't, it makes it. Yeah, I have a family member who's very close to me. I will not name who it is, but someone that you would want to support you in a journey of art that you do, has not from day one for me. And I remember my friends were so angry about it for me, like, oh, this person should be supporting you, like they should, be happy for you. And I just remember being like, it's okay, it's okay, it's fine. And I remember when I published my first book, like before I wrote it, this person was like, well, like, why are you doing this? Like, what? You don't have any time on the weekends. You don't have any like friends. Like, you're not seeing anybody. Like, you're working all day and then you're going and like writing. Cause I had a full time job when I first started
Mhm.
writing. And I was just like, nope, because like I really believe in it. I think it's a great story. I think it'll be fun. And then when I published the first book, it was like, oh well, you should. Specifically remember this person saying, "Well, just be prepared for it not to do well." And I remember being
That's
like, I'm definitely prepared for it not to do well. Like
yeah.
mentally, I am prepared for that. But when it did have success and I did have that success, like, then it was something else. Then it was, well, don't let it go to your head. And I was like, okay, I got it. And I realized when the second book came out and that was how that was, I was like, no matter what I do, it's never going to be good enough for this person. And either I can let that like crush me emotionally, or I can just say, okay, I got to keep trucking. It doesn't matter. I got to keep going. I got to keep going on. So,
Tell you that was my father. He never. I mean, he was just always on me, right? But the beauty of it is that all his friends were like, "I'm so sick of your dad praising you and talking about you, saying you the greatest, this and that." I was like, "Really?" I guarantee you that person was telling a couple people that they were proud of you. They just can't tell you, right?
yeah.
And that's the pride with people sometimes. When they know they were wrong, when they know they should have been behind you, that they can't even look you in the face. But like I worked in clubs and I treated people like crap sometimes. And whenever I see somebody that I was like, you know what, I was a little mean to her. I say, hey, what's up? And they be like, oh, DC, I'm so proud of you. I was like, hey, let me tell you something. I said, back in the day, I was a little tart towards you. And I just wanted to let you know I'm sorry. We was in the trenches and I just want to let you know I'm sorry. I'm not that person no more. And I was the person I had to be back then, but I really am sorry because nobody deserves, what the things, some of the things I said to you. They'd be like, man, go on with that, man. We was all just having fun. But
But it
I
meant
make it a
something to
point to
you.
do that.
You needed to say that. That was something for you, like,
Mm-hmm.
and it also goes to show like how to be graceful, like how to accept that apology and how to let stuff go, because like that person that you said that you apologized to, and they were like, oh, it's in the past, it's no big deal. May we all be like that. May we all just let that stuff go, because usually when someone is tart towards us, or it's someone reacting negatively, or someone that can't support us because they can't see how you could be successful or you could do that, it's not you, it's them, it's their journey, it's where they're at the time. And just seeing that, and that was important for you to say that you were sorry and that you wanted their forgiveness. but it was also beautiful in the sense that they were like, "Oh, you already had it. It's no big deal. It's in the past." Like,
and it because I've worked in being a club DJ. I know thousands. When the record hit, it didn't phase me because I was already kind of popular, right? I was in the biggest clubs. Everybody knew me, and I was the person driving the bus, right? And it just I vowed I watch people treat people like crap. But the thing is that you can only be hot for so long. And on the way down, I would watch people revel in their demise. And I watch people commit suicide. I watch people just do everything they can to keep that attention, to keep that tension going. And I vowed that I'd never be like that. I said I will always treat people the same. I'm not gonna let my ego get inflated. I'm gonna feel good. I'm gonna have
good for
my
you.
fun, but I am not going to do that. And even with the adversity, like the lawsuits and all the things that I've been through, people like I could have became an old bitter rapper like most do, but I didn't. I said I'm a grown man. I take responsibility for not, being doing my due diligence with the lawyers and understanding what I was getting myself into, and that's my fault. Even though I was young, it's still my responsibility because I'm a man, and that's
Yep.
part of it. You have to recognize, hey, I messed this up, but I'll be better, and it won't happen that way again. And that's all you can do. There's only certain things that behaviors that you can have because we all have choices. So the choices you make are going to dictate how things go for you. And if they don't go for you the way they want, you can't be like, well, that didn't work. You got to look at it like, okay, so what could I have done different? Not that it
Absolutely.
didn't work. What could I have done different?
Learning from those failures.
Right.
Yep.
And if you do that, that thing that was different might help you with something 5 years from now. Or that thing that you thought you messed up in helps you 10 years from now. And that's
Being able to adapt is incredibly
man.
important, and being able to take that. And yeah, I did a girls weekend with a couple of other authors that I met through TikTok, and they were all at my age. We were all kind of the same background, but we weren't all from the same background. We had completely different backgrounds. And I remember we were on a specific topic, and I had said something like, "Oh, like I have this character doing this because, that makes sense." And this other author who had just met me was kind of like, "Hey, you might be wrong," and like gave an alternative opinion. And up until that particular moment in time, I hadn't thought about what I was saying or the ramifications of what I was saying or what I was about to have this character do. But in that particular moment, it completely like turned it on its head for me. And the way she said it, the way she did it was so beautiful, but like it changed it for me. And I hope that, as a person, when I am confronted with like my own ideals, whether they are political or they're, whatever it is, that someone offers that opinion to me, that I can grow, I don't say like, yeah, this is what I believe because, so and so told me this, or this is what I believe for the last 33 years of my life. It's a matter of, well, does it make sense? And have I thought about it from this other perspective? Can I grow? Can I adapt? Like I want to be someone that can take that change and take that feedback and apply it and have it make my life slightly bigger. It's kind of like the Grinch, right? It's not that our heart, loses space. It's that our heart grows 3 sizes. It gets bigger. Our world and our vision expands. So,
Hey.
Well, and you think about trees, and other plants. DC talked about the seed earlier, and when that plant gets big, you have to prune it in order to get it to grow right and grow better, grow stronger, produce more fruit. Um, and sometimes that's it's pretty painful. Some of the most painful things in my life have ended up with me right here, right now, having this conversation. And
Yeah.
absolutely.
I was on fire once, and if I hadn't have been, then I'd probably be retiring from a career in working on cars. instead of doing this. And if I hadn't gone through the divorce I did, then I probably wouldn't be doing podcasting right now. And it's like painful things, adversity.
I
Like you
love
said, Nicole, adversity can bring a certain sweetness to it if you work it right.
it. And it's amazing to
Absolutely.
talk about the truth.
We lost your sound again.
And it's so important. We want it. We want to hear your sound.
I know. My childhood in Denver, Colorado, we had a big, gigantic Christmas tree in the front yard, and we had 2 plum trees in the backyard. And over my lifetime, lightning has hit these trees. One tree caught on fire, and just so much adversity happened to these trees. One tree we had to cut all the way down, and it grew back. And it's just so poignant because I got Zoom at my parents' house. Not Zoom, but Ring. And I'm looking at that Christmas tree out front, and it is the fullest I have ever seen it, and it is just symmetrical and the perfect Christmas tree. There are times that tree has been cut off. One half of it was green, half of it was yellow, like just all kind of adversity these trees have been through, but they're still there, and they still, whether it's a lightning strike, whether one year it has plums and one year it doesn't, and that's just poignant what you said because that's gonna. I tell people, I said, life is baked in the cake. It's how you react to it. Stuff gonna happen, period. But if you can, and uh, that's what it's about. And people don't.
You can't control what happens to you, but you can always control how you react to what happens to you.
Like there are people in my life. Like I learned a while back that everybody's not me. Everybody can't do what I do because I used to get people mad at people like, you're not holding your weight, you're not doing this. I'm doing all the work, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And I realized that I am different.
Yeah.
And okay, I'll do it all. I don't care. I'll do it all because I'm not gonna let nobody stop my money. So if I gotta do it all for 3, 4 people, I'm gonna do it all because I'm not gonna let anybody stop my money. And that's just me. And that makes you stronger and better as well. Right?
Yep.
In a way that you're not even mad no more because of that, or because you're in a relationship and person's expecting a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm like, well, I could be easily be like, well, what are you bringing to the table? Nothing. But I don't do that. I'd be like, okay, I got it. I'll take it. I got it all. I don't even care because I'm not gonna let nobody stop my money. Period.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And that's how you have to be. You have to put your blinders on and you have to fight because that is part of the negativity grabbing a hold of you. That's a part of your adaptability and how you react to things. So it's like I will do everything. If I gotta go do this and do that, you ain't gotta ask me. It's gonna get done. And that's why I get to go to Boise, Idaho tomorrow and sing at a festival. Get a bunch of
Yeah.
money. On that
That's
note,
awesome though.
I gotta get out of here because I gotta catch a flight early in the morning. I hate to leave.
I gotta know before you go, DC. I gotta know what is your zodiac sign because I'm curious.
You know what it is, Leo.
Oh, you're a Leo. See, that's why. I'm an Aries, so I understand.
Yeah. See, and
Don't tell me no
yeah,
more that I can't do something.
nah, and here, I'm the good Leo because I'm the sun. That's how I look at myself. I
Yep.
want to make things grow. You got your egotistical Leos, you got your arrogant Leos, you got your just terrible. I am the sun.
Yep.
And I've taken that role. I've taken that role on in my life, and that's all I want to be is the sun that makes things grow.
Yep. I was curious because I was like, I know this man is a fire sign. I would bet my kidney on it that he's a fire sign. Bet it. Needed to know if I was right.
I embrace it too. I embrace it wholeheartedly. It's like
Me
people
too.
already know, but that's just that we all got choices, right? And I choose to hustle. Like I say this all the time. Like you said in Jurassic Park, life finds a way, hustle finds a way.
Hustle finds a
That
way.
don't make no sense grammatically, but it makes
It would make it
all
would
the
be
sense.
a great like picture on like a wall, right? For some farmhouse decor, like reclaimed wood painted at Pier 1.
Uh-huh.
Hustle finds a way. I like it.
I'm telling you, hustle finds a way, right? You find a way if you hustle. Period.
Yep. Yep.
Man, plus about it. But I bid you adieu. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for
Thank
being
you so
on.
Sprinkle!
Sprinkles.
That's my performance of the night. Hey, thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us.
All right, you guys
Nice
have
chatting with you,
You
DC.
too.
take care. All right, bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, I don't know if TC's going to hang up. I don't know how to hang
Oh
up one
no.
person. That's okay. Say something so that it switches from the empty chair, Nicole.
Okay, I can say lots of things.
There we go.
I might not be as eloquent as DC is, though.
So, let's see. What is the name of your series?
So the name of the series is The Heart of the Inferno.
Heart of the Inferno.
Yep, and the 4 books that are going to be out right now. The 3rd book comes out this fall, but the 4 books are Catalyst, Ignite, Flashpoint, and Embers. So they actually go with the Inferno theme, and they follow the 4 stages of a fire. So Catalyst being the first book, Ignition,
Right.
like Ignite being the second, Flashpoint being the third, and Embers being the fourth.
Right. Okay. Cool. So people can look that up, and let's see.
Yep, they're available on Amazon and Kindle. And actually, if you are a Kindle Unlimited user, they are free. So
Yeah, I'm not a Kindle Unlimited. I got too many other things I got to read first.
yeah, I'm a physical book person. I like being able to hold it in my hands. So
Yeah, there is something to be said about the physical book. I actually have a collection of books, not a large one, but a collection of antique books. I've got one from the late 1800s that actually has a phrenology chart in it. So the study of the bumps of the head on the head that tells you whether or not you're an evil person.
right. Yep. Yep. That's you know, some of the most intense books or the most intricate books are the most interesting when they have fun little like information like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's pretty funny. I flip through it. I'm really careful with it because it's really fragile. But I flip through it, and some of the things that are medically that they're saying medically you should be doing this are things now that we'd be going, no, never do that.
oh, you mean like the old medicine commercials
Mm-hmm.
where they were like, "Hey, if you have a cold, take these cocaine drops. You'll feel great."
Yeah.
Like I bet you will. I bet you'll feel like you can paint the house
That's right.
with the flu.
That's right. But yeah, one of them said that you needed to spend like 4 hours a day out in direct sunlight to
Oh
yeah,
wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
and there were even instructions on how to build a sunroom. So
Oh my. Yep. I love all of like the old this is, you know, how women should behave. Like this is,
oh
you know,
yeah,
like the, you know, so you should have the house clean for when your husband comes home because you don't want him to leave you. Like, yep. That's true.
oh
I
goodness.
don't know what I would do. I'm fortunate though. I have a husband who does participate in the household chores and cleaning. Doesn't always do it my way exactly, but he tries. So, you know, I always tell him, I'm like, the only way you get to leave me, babe, is in a wooden box because you know too much and I've put too much effort into training you into the perfect husband that I need. So And as an author of mafia romance, I've done a decent amount of research and probably ended up on a government watch list or two.
Yeah.
In regards to how to hide a body. So yeah, don't upset the apple cart wife.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure doing this podcast has gotten me on a watch list or two.
Oh, certainly. Yeah, that's my Google search history for the last 2 books alone. I did a whole TikTok that was like, "Hi to my FBI agent who's watching this. I'm not a terrorist. I'm a writer." And then I like held up my books and I'm like, "I write mafia romance thrillers. Like, this is what I do. Please don't show up at my house in a white van or anything and take me away."
That's right. Oh goodness, they're gonna take us all away someday.
Definitely,
But,
definitely.
yeah. Let's see. What what important thing would you a piece of advice have you learned as an author that somebody else might make use of that so they don't stumble in the same way you did?
Um, I would say for me, it's to know your own limitations. And I love that DC talks about like how he was the type of person that like he didn't want to have any limitations. For me, I get overwhelmed if I feel like I have to know something. My husband is exactly like DC, by the way. He is a wants to know how to do everything himself, wants to immerse himself in a topic, wants to really understand it, and I love that about him. But me with like I have really bad ADD, like really bad. So for me, I have to be able to like, is this something that I do feel like, I am a master in, that I'm good at? For example, editing
Mhm.
and graphic design were 2 things I learned in this process that for me personally, I didn't want to be an expert in those things because I did not enjoy them. And also because I wasn't naturally suited to it. So being an author and coming up with like the word mastery and like the telling of the story and like the interesting and the character depth and all those things like do come naturally to me, and I do love those things. But the editing portion of it is difficult when you are the author because you know what a sentence should say.
Right.
You know how you have it in your head, but what you actually typed might be slightly different. Um, and so it's sometimes difficult to see the forest from the trees. So having that second set of eyes, you can do it a couple of different ways depending on like budgets and stuff too. But whether you can pay for a professional editor or you have a team of people who, and I don't want to say like are just your friends, because you can't ask your friends to love your book for the sake of loving you. They have to love it anyway. But you can have a team of readers that are your designated like ARC readers or your beta team. I have, for me, I have an alpha, beta, and then I have like my ARC readers. So that team and everything there. But I also have an editor. But having those extra sets of eyes is so vital because I read something, I wrote it, I read it 40 times, didn't notice any errors. And I remember the first time I wrote, like I started writing a chapter, and this makes me laugh now when I think about it. I wrote out, here's what I want for all 45 chapters, right? Well, I had written chapters, 1 through 30. And I was like, okay, well, I should probably go back and take a look at chapter 1 again. And I remember when I first wrote chapter 1, I was like, that was great. That was an awesome chapter. Like I could send that to the printer right now. Like, boom, done. Like being an author is easy. Let me tell you, when I was on chapter 30 and I stopped writing for a second and went back to chapter 1 and read the amazingness that I had written in chapter 1, I learned a few things, and it was a very humbling experience for me. But I specifically remember the thinking and telling my husband, like, this is so easy. Like, I don't understand why people stress about this. Like, why does it take so long to get a book out? My God, that could have gone to the printer. That definitely could not have gone to the printer. So there was, that disconnect that happens, but you also like grow as an author too. You learn how to work efficiently, how to work smarter, you learn through the experience. But there are people who are going to be naturally suited to editing and proofreading. They enjoy it, they're good at it, they can do it basically. And they're there to help you be that extension of yourself. And then the other portion of it was just still funny. And I can actually give you an example of this. So when I first published my book, I made the covers myself because I watched a tutorial on YouTube that's how you did it. You used this software and you made this fancy book cover. And so I made the cover myself. So this is the first cover that I made of my book. And it's pretty. It's really good. It's gorgeous. I have fans that still prefer the original cover. However, when we, did do the relaunch and we, did see the success and it was taking off, we did hire an amazing graphic artist who made the covers what they are now, which is exactly what I was looking for. But there's no way I could have done this. This is not a skill I possess, because just like organizing the tiny little pieces in this one made me want to, put my fist through my Mac computer. So my husband was in the other room listening to me complain. So it just goes to show you, like, there is a difference in like knowing enough about a subject and being an expert in a subject. Right. I'm not an expert in graphic design. I don't want to be an expert in graphic design because I don't have the patience for it. Yeah. But I do want to have someone on my team who is an expert in graphic design, because then it makes me look better as a whole, as a unit. So my advice, to sum up this long-winded speech that I'm giving you, is like, if you are an author and if that is something that you want to do, like, know yourself and know your limitations. If you are someone like DC that wants to be an expert in everything, and maybe you already have the graphic design experience, maybe you already are an amazing editor, you could possibly do it all yourself. I personally knew that I couldn't, and I knew that, but I kind of powered through it, and then I learned royally that it would be better if I allowed myself to delegate a few tasks that, were not my passion as much as like the writing of the story and the crafting and that. Yeah. So for me, I would say, like, have a good team around you, because that team will make you better.
Even if you are an expert in all things, there is a certain limitation of time.
Yes.
There's only so many hours in the day.
Yeah. Because let me tell you, it's a lot of fun to write a book, design a book cover, edit a book, troubleshoot a book, market the book, make a million TikToks about the book. And again, like, still try to like make your merchandise. Just so many things that are there. So yeah, it makes it easier on you to not have to do everything yourself. But also, it is another set of eyes that's going to be there and is, going to be on your team and make you better for that too. So
yeah, I've written papers and stuff, and thought that was the most amazing thing ever written. And then I got another set of eyes on it, and it turned out I was wrong.
Yeah, well, and it's funny because every time I send for me and my editor, I work in like sections, because I'm writing the last quarter of the book while my editor is editing the third quarter of the book. And we work in sections, and every time I send her a section, I think it's perfect. Like, she's gonna come back and say there's nothing in this. There always is. There always is.
Yeah. So. But yeah, I believe in knowing enough about a topic that I don't plan on actually doing, to know that, to kind of understand what the process is and be able to participate. But and I always tell people that there are some subjects you should always know at least a little bit about, to keep from getting cheated, like bookkeeping. like your bookkeeping.
Yes.
Know enough
Yes.
about bookkeeping to not get cheated, but
Yes.
I can't stand doing bookkeeping.
Yep.
I've done all the classes. I could be an accountant. I did well in it,
Yeah.
but I despised it.
My husband would have to, because even though like I handle paying all of our bills now, and like that's my job now, I hate it. And so, and so when it comes to like book stuff, he's always like, "Did you keep receipts? Did you do that?" Like he's really good about reminding me, because he knows like for me, I just love the actual story and the writing portion of it. I'm actually an introvert. That when you get me on a topic that I care about, I can be an extrovert. But if I could just like stay in my tiny little hole and just write forever and no one would ever need to see me, that would be ideal. But I know that I can't. And it was interesting because I think DC touched on it too. Like you get asked questions and things like that. And I had somebody ask when I was doing a panel one time, what do you do if you're not an extroverted person? What if you don't interview well or you don't speak well on camera, especially like as an independent author? And I remember, thinking about it, because like for me, I did grow up where like my mom threw me in, I was a classically trained singer for 15 years. I did acting. I did like a lot of the stuff that DC did. But a lot of that stuff kind of like gets you over the stage fright factor.
Yeah.
But not everybody has that. And what I wanted, other listeners or other people to understand is it's more important for your readers to see you as a real person than to see you as some untouchable, always perfect, always made up, anomaly. So for me, when I do like TikToks and stuff, I do like make full makeup, falsies, look great. I do those TikToks, but I also do the hey, here's what here's what life as an author looks like. Messy bun, no makeup, glasses, because I want my readers to say like, okay, like she's a real person. So if you are someone that is like a little bit more like nervous and you're concerned about like, well, like maybe I'm not like really attractive or anything like that, you don't need to be worried about those things, like because your readers are going to fall in love with your story and they're going to want to know more about you, and the more real and authentic you come across is going to really connect with your readers and like endear them to you. So it's okay. You do have to grow a little bit. You have to be able to do those interviews. So you just have to take them at your pace. If someone asks you a question and it takes you a minute to think about it and come up with an answer, that's okay. Take it at your pace. Don't think that you have to be as well versed as, that other person on your panel that is very talkative and, enjoys public speaking or whatever. You don't have to worry about those things as much as that authenticity piece is really important. So I don't want anybody to be discouraged from writing a story based on like, oh, well, like I could really write a story, but I don't really like talking about it. None of us do. We don't, because we feel like used car salesmen sometimes, but no one is going to know your story. And it's the difference between being seen and being heard. If you just want to write a book so that you can say like, yep, like I got that book on my shelf and it's there and it'll be there forever, and I wrote a book at one point in my life and that's it, that's totally cool. But if you want to be heard, if you want people to hear like your story, to really have it touch them, to have it, be the next 50 Shades of Grey, J.K. Rowling, Tolkien, you want it, not that we should put any of those categories together, but if you want it to be, then there's going to be some sacrifices made on your part. You're going to work long hours. You're going to cry, probably. You're going to pull your hair out, question your sanity, and you're going to have to grow a little bit. But you don't have to worry about like, well, I have to have all of it put together right away. You don't. It's important that when you speak and you talk, that your readers feel like this is a real person that's talking to me. I could sit down with this author and have a conversation, and we would connect about some things. So if you're out there and you're listening, that would be my piece to you. That would be my advice to you. Write the damn book, because like you are the only person who can tell your story, and I bet it's amazing and I want to read it. So write the book and then take it one step at a time. But just remember to stay true to yourself and to accept growth opportunities as they come along.
Don't fight it, write it.
Right, exactly. Don't fight it, write it. Love that.
Well, I don't know. I never did ask you, where are you?
Oh, I'm in Florida.
You're in Florida, so you're an
I'm a
East Coaster
Florida.
too. Okay. So
What's that?
you were closer to DC than I am. To
Oh,
either of you.
where is he?
He's in Atlanta. I think he's in Atlanta.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So he's probably going through the same heat wave we're going through here. So
Oh, fun. Yeah, we're
it's been
still.
insane. We've had feel like temperatures up to like 118. Like,
Ooh,
so
ouch.
yeah.
Yeah, we haven't
I
gotten
I
that bad yet.
I realized that, again, when I was younger, it was all about like, oh, I want to be outside and I want to be tan. Like I do. I want to be tan. That's true. But I also want to be healthy with my skin.
Yeah.
So I basically just move between places that have air conditioning now. So I go between buildings that
Shade
have
and
air
air
conditioning.
conditioning. That's just
Yep. Yep.
how it goes. So,
Yep.
well, I don't want to keep you too late. Don't know
No
if you're
worries.
the nighttime person. Well, then we can
Yep.
we can keep chatting. We still got about 15 minutes.
Yeah, no, I'm good. So it's been great to be on the show, and it was nice chatting with DC and nice chatting with you too. And I hope if you're out there and you are either a thriller or a romance reader, I know those two things don't always go together. But I would say that my books might be for you. So
And say the name of the series again.
it's the Heart of the Inferno series,
The Heart of the
Catalyst,
Inferno.
Ignite, and then Flashpoint will be out this fall
Woo-hoo. And all available on Amazon.
on Amazon and Kindle. Yep.
Yep. And you can get real books or you can get the electronic type. And
Yep.
but cool.
We have a hardcover coming this winter for the holidays too, so that'll be cool because they're. I was really picky, not to talk bad about Amazon, but their options for hardcovers weren't what I wanted. So we have some like great dust covers and that kind of stuff. So there's some cool stuff coming out this winter too.
Cool.
So.
Cool. Okay. Well, keep an eye out for that. You on the social media?
Yep. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I am on Twitter. I'm not very good at Twitter, and I don't tweet very often. So
Yeah,
unfortunately,
me
I
neither.
missed that boat. But yeah, you can find me on all those as well. And then I have a website, which is nherownwords.com. That's letter N, herownwords.com.
nherownwords.com. Very cool. Let's see. And it's Nicole Fanning. Nicole with no H.
No H. I remember as a kid, I used to hate it when people spell my name with an H. So I'd be like, it's not Nicole.
Yeah.
Now I get asked constantly that like, do you have any relation to Dakota Fanning? I wish, because Elle and Dakota Fanning are gorgeous, but no relation. So sadly, no.
Not that Fanning family.
No, not that Fanning family.
No, but oh, any final parting words before I ask the final question?
No, I think I'm good. I think I've said all the words.
Okay, I ask a question of all my guests as a final parting gift. Um, and I wish DC could have stayed because I would have loved to have heard his answer. Consider a hot dog in a bun. Is it a sandwich?
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay.
I think it is. It's meat. It's between two slices of bread. Well, kind of. And you put a bunch of condiments and stuff on it, and yeah, think it is a sandwich. I mean, if a meatball sub is a sandwich, like a hot dog is really just like a smaller version of a sub.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my.
Okay.
Yeah. I had to really think about it. I think I'm gonna go ask my husband the same question once we get off and see what he says. And I think no matter what he says, I'm going to disagree with him and tell him he's wrong. So if he ever does watch this podcast, he'll know that, no matter what his answer was, like I had planned to just be like, no, that's wrong. That's not right. That's not right.
Well, he and everyone should watch this podcast. Because I'm a feisty little girl like that. He and everyone.
What's that?
He and everyone should watch this podcast.
Everyone should watch this podcast. 100%. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you so much for being on. It's been an absolute pleasure. And absolutely. I bid you good night.
You too.
Now I'm going to go to the end credits. Hanging up on you now. Go away.
Okay. Okay, bye.
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 Okay, let's run those end credits. Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been a presentation of Bald Spots Productions. I keep forgetting to take that slide out. And my mother's the producer. I'm your humble host, as always. I'd like to thank my special guests, DC Glenn and Nicole Fanning. They were wonderful. If you missed part of the show, go back and start over. If you feel so led, support the show. Head over to Patreon. We're there as Bald Spots Pro. Don't miss YWL Online. You can find us on Facebook. And, of course, tune in next week for Now, maybe I need to make those longer. Please like, comment, and share to stay informed. You can find us on Facebook at Not Quite After Midnight. And it's Phila Vosia and Isaias Urias. Hold on, it'll come back. It'll swing back around here again real quick. Bald Spots Pro on Patreon. YWL Online on Facebook. Phila Vosia and Gerardo Urias. Oh, I really messed that up. Please like, comment, and share to stay informed and kick that algorithm into gear so we can reach more people. Thanks again, and have a great whenever. Bye.